you definitely need to commit to another chase, like ASAP, because everybody's right here. So think about it this way. So this is really, really important. So the Nancy and the Jake were healing, and then somebody was on the hook and they got unhooked. Nobody's technically on a gen right now. This is super good pressure for you. Can you operate on this pressure? We'll kind of find out. But let's see what happens.
Oi, 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 YouTube. It's good to see you guys. I hope you've had your water today. I hope you're feeling all right. You deserve to. It's a good day to be alive out there. So today's video is a gameplay review. Now, if you did not know, you can go to our Discord and submit gameplay to be reviewed. The review is not me dunking on you guys or wishing you'd be better. The gameplay review is me saying what I would do better and trying to explain some maybe tactics that maybe you didn't know about or didn't know how to implement. It's very, very easy to get on YouTube and look at guides. It's not quite so easy to implement that into your own gameplay. So the gameplay review today is about a Wraith, and they're on the swamp and they're not quite sure how to split their pressure effectively, what targets to take, and they have a lot of opportunities and unfortunately miss some opportunities. There's some proxy camping, and why proxy camping doesn't really help to some degree. There's a little hesitancy. There's kicking the wrong gens instead of committing to the right chases. There's a lot of things going on here, and ultimately this Wraith gets in the way of their own pressure that they could be generating, and I think a lot of killers are probably doing this. So stick around for this video. I think you guys will like it, and I'll be praying to the entity to see you in the next one. Hope you guys have a great day.
So let's take a look at how this goes. Immediately found somebody, super good. The audio quality is like crushed, like 64-bit, so I don't know what happened there. It's a little tough, but really good opening hit. Good pallet. What are those add-ons? One is the Coxcomb Clapper, I believe. Maybe it's I don't remember the exact name. It makes it so that they can't tell what direction the wailing bell is coming from. And let me see the other one. The other one is faster uncloak time. Really good job there. So this is a technique I think a lot of people need to pick up a little bit more on. So by faking out this Jake, what happens is he makes the Jake think he's coming for this, but then he turns around to go towards the other survivors who are on the gen, right? Because discordance is going off. I think that's really smart. You end up hearing that the Jake wastes this pallet for no reason. Yep. So the Jake just kind of wasted that pallet, burned it for no reason. The problem here is that we kind of missed the Yun Jin a little bit. We sort of like walked right by her, right? The ace took the window, and at that point I would have been like, yeah, fuck that whole window. But here, and it's really hard to see, I'll have to try to pause it at the exact perfect time. But the Yun Jin is like right next to him. Yeah, the Yun Jin, you guys can't see it, is right over here. So instead of going this way, knowing that discordance is going off, there's two people here, there's one, where the fuck's the other? I would have gone for the Yun Jin, the path of least resistance, right? Because she is clearly out of position. And she might actually be able to work on that gen while you're, you know, busy, which is not good. Okay. Good job knowing when that chase is maybe taking a little bit too long and breaking that pallet. Not really a good idea to kick this gen, because that ace is just going to pop out and come back to it. So kind of what we talked about earlier, kicking the gen only regresses the gen at a rate of 4 to 1, right? So 4 seconds of regression is equal to 1 second of survivor progress, right? So kicking that gen, the ace is going to get on it before it even regresses any. It doesn't really matter. It just wastes 2.6 seconds of your time. It doesn't do anything for you, all right? So just be aware of that. It doesn't really benefit you. Good hit there. Could have been a grab, but good hit. Or she's not wounded. No grab. Just kidding. I'm a liar. Okay. Could be something crazy here. Let's see what happens. So not awful. I think with Wraith, you could have played like a different sort of gamble almost, where you could have uncloaked a little bit to the side and faked her one direction, got her to throw it and gone the other way, something like that. That's all kind of like speculation, because I try to treat Wraith's uncloak sort of like a pig dash sometimes. It doesn't quite work the same, but it's very similar. But not awful. You tried to really throw her off here. If you were going to do something like that, it may have been beneficial to like look this direction as if you were going to go around, and then as you uncloak, take the speed boost and go in and hit her. Hard to say, and not like the most solid, but most solid advice, because it's all like a guessing game. But good job getting the pallet out of the way. I would commit to a down at this point. I don't know that we're committing quite enough. Good fucking grab, though. I don't know why she did not get off the gen. Good shit there, though. Are we going to try to use pop on the far back gen? Probably too late. Yeah. Good job. And you tried what I mentioned right there. Super smart. It doesn't always work. It's worth it. I would use this pop before you lose it, though. Really good idea to use it here. Yeah, I wouldn't go for that, Nancy. That was a waste of your time. A little bit. So we have a wasted pop goes the weasel. That's rough. You won't be able to get it out before it goes away, I don't think. I don't think it worked. If the timer is up in the middle of the animation, it doesn't work, but I could be wrong here. So we got to work on our commitment to people a little bit. Good job blocking the window. Super smart. She's going to try to go around. You should get that. No, got stuck on the corner there. Yeah, so right now, one thing you're doing is you're micro-committing. So you'll commit like 5 seconds of a chase to somebody and then bounce and commit to 5. I would be super intentional, because right now you've wasted 20, 30 seconds. Like, hit Nancy. She has to go mend now. All right, hit Jake. Well, he's wounded. Now, I'm going to go hit Yunjin. Like, you're not hooking anybody. And we've kind of talked about this before, but the best pressure for a killer in DBD is someone being on a damn hook, right? And then someone's on a hook, and then one other person has to unhook them. That's 2 people off of gens, and now maybe they have to heal. Like, that's what you want to do. And so, like, micro committing and like 4 seconds here and then 4 seconds here, you're wasting your own time and not really inhibiting the survivors much. So it didn't look like it. Yeah, it didn't look like it to me either. And now we're playing the game of like, where is everybody? Because you've kind of well, we saw something. All right, I'll let you guys let me know if you see it. We got a glowy Gus right here. Look at this. Just hiding into bushes. See the little sparkles? We got a glowy Gus. So one thing I always say is try to relax your eyes as much as you can when you're playing DBD. Don't like squint or like be like hard looking. Just kind of, you know, check things out, but relax your eyes. And if you relax your eyes, in my opinion, you'll see the weird shit really, really, really easy. I think my mindset was to get more people injured to hopefully snowball later. Don't rely on snowballs. Rely on consistency. Snowballs are inconsistent. Snowballs are hard to achieve. And as we've seen, people are healing themselves at a pretty good rate. You really shouldn't be relying on snowballs. You should be relying on consistent pressure that you generate. Snowballs are something that could be taken away from you. And so you don't want to rely on that. It's not usually, in my opinion, a good idea, right? Like certain killers can snowball, Plague, Oni, Mikey, but you need to be able to learn how to play without that snowball pressure, right? Because when those killers can't snowball, if every, like a good example is like if every survivor is like split up, right? And they're not grouped together, right? As Oni. You might be able to get one person slugged, and then you might be able to get another person slugged, but then the first slug gets up, and then snowballs don't always work. And so you have to be able to keep that mindset of like, I just need to get a hook right now when you can't snowball. Wraith isn't really a killer that, like, he can in some cases if players give it to you, but he's not really a killer that snowballs per se. And so it doesn't really fit his play style. Yeah, he can hit and run, but at this point, when you waste more time hitting and running than you do actually downing people, you're getting in your own way a little bit, right? So let's take a look at how the rest of it goes. I could be eating my words here later, but we did walk right by our friend here who was hidden in the bushes. And as we walked by them, we actually heard them get up and walk away. We do see a wounded Nancy. Not a bad down. The hit and run isn't bad for moments like this, right? But the problem is you could have got a hook probably about 35 seconds ago if you just committed to somebody. So the question I have to ask is, what's the point of the hit and run, right? So you want to block the window, which you didn't quite do. As Wraith, you always want to like block your windows when you uncloak, right? Always know where the windows and pallets are. Stand in front of them so that survivors can't get to them. Makes your job, your whole life, a whole lot easier. The whole returning to the hook thing also just kind of bad. Not super good. So I'm of two minds with this sort of thing. If somebody gets, okay, so somebody is on the hook is blue, all right, and then a survivor goes to unhook, right, and then you're chasing you and Jin over here, and then you stop and go this way, guess what's going to happen? You and Jin just gets back on her generator, right? This is the generator. You want to keep as many people distracted and away from stuff as you possibly can, right? What that often means is letting people heal after an unhook. Now, if you were going to be a dick, you could just re-hit Nancy and then like hook her and like tunnel her out, right? But I think that that's pretty lowbrow, and I think that a lot of survivors, as you get higher and better at the game, are going to call that stuff out. So while these two, right, this is Nancy and this is Jake, while they heal, take care of the Yoon Jin and chase her, right? Because what that means is we have two people that aren't on gens, and then Yoon Jin's preoccupied. That leaves one person on generators. What's happening right now is you're chasing him, is that the Nancy goes and gets on a gen, potentially, right? So Nancy goes and gets on a gen, Yoon Jin gets back on her gen, and then the fourth, Ace, gets on a gen. So you have three people probably on gens right now because you went back to the hook. That's the problem, right? You have to, in some cases, as killer, let people unhook and heal, especially if you're in the middle of an interaction with Yoon Jin. Chase her, keep her off of her gen so that these two heal. And sure, they might discordance and get on the hook, but and get on the gen. But at least you've been able to put some pressure on the Yoon Jin. So I don't know that this like really was the play. And I think a lot of people do this. They go back to the hook because they're like, oh, it's easy. They're out in the open. They don't expect it. But now Nancy might get on a gen. Yoon Jin might get on a gen. Three people are on a gen right now. And that's not, you don't want that, right? So by doing this, you're allowing less pressure in a lot of ways, especially because he's at a pretty strong tile right now if he plays it right. So we'll kind of see how it pans out. But pallet, yep. That was Ace's gen, I think. Yoon Jin's off to the left. There, she's ready to hop on the gen that's here. Nancy's up top. She just dropped down. I don't know if you ignored her on purpose to be polite or... Yeah, this Jake is bodying you right now. He definitely is proficient enough. Wow. Okay. Really good hit. I'm not gonna lie to you. Fuck this whole area. This is one of the areas that I say don't like fuck this whole gen. Like, I don't patrol this gen. I don't care about this gen. They could do this gen because there's two pallets usually, at least one or two windows. Really a good spot for most survivors if you're a killer who's not particularly fast or something like that, right? And Wraith is kind of fast, but he also has that slowdown to uncloak and things like that. And this place is small enough people can take advantage of it. I really don't chase here often. I'm glad that you did commit to a chase though. So just future reference, this whole gen could just fuck itself. One thing I'll notice, the beginning of this game, you didn't like look at 3-genning. You didn't even think about 3-genning the team. I don't think that was a thought in your head. And I feel like with every match that I review from killers, they're not 3-genning the team at all. They're not even thinking about it. And I made a whole video about how to 3-gen and how to create map pressure, and it flopped. It didn't get any views. And this was like 6 or 7 months ago. But it's funny that that flopped, but people don't do it, and they don't know how to do it, and they don't think it's important. They've never heard of it. 3-gen the team. If you guys need to know how to do that, ask me, and that's fine. But if you 3-gen the enemy team, you're going to have a lot more success than if you just chase them around aimlessly off of whatever gen, wherever they are, whenever. It's just not super smart. So if you guys have questions about what 3-genning is, feel free to ask. I would love to break that down for you. No discordance, so it doesn't seem like anyone's on this. Not bad. I would use pop on that gen. You don't really have time to be fucking choosy with pop personally. Go ahead and kick that. Okay. Not awful. You can use that one. You don't really have like a solid 3-gen right now. There's so many structures in the way, but that's ace, I think? Yeah. Good pallet. Good idea just getting the pallet out of the way and going to where people are. Because the gen in that boat has no progress. It's okay to leave that. Because Ace by himself, it'll take him 80 fucking seconds to get there. Jesus, Nancy. Always in a rough spot. Okay, she's headed to Shack. You do have to commit to somebody, and you definitely could kill her. But she does have Shack, right, which hasn't been destroyed yet. So I hope you body block the window here. Okay, there you go. I mean, that's ideally how you would do it, right? Give them fewer options to escape. Really, really smart. Whoop. Okay. You do have basement here, and I think it's one thing that we're not using basement very much. Basement makes survivors a little nervous, right? It's obviously not the best shit in the world, but you do have a tough choice when it comes to Pop Goes the Weasel, though. Not anymore, actually. They took that. I feel guilty when I'm getting a 3-gen. When I play Survivor, I bust up 3-gens, so don't feel bad. It's just like you have to learn how to 3-gen, survivors have to learn how to combat it. No scratches. I wouldn't assume anybody's there. Not doing bad. 4 hooks so far with 2 gens. This is kind of the normal pace of the game. You maybe could have got like 1 or 2 more hooks than normal, but I think you're hovering this hook a little too heavy. I would go patrol out a little further. Yeah, I think this is a little sort of proxy-ish. You could have found somebody by now. You're Wraith. You're the speediest boy in the West, you know? Okay. Yep. So the healing was happening there. I saw some of the sparkles right as you rounded the corner. You definitely need to commit to another chase, like ASAP, because everybody's right here. So think about it this way. So this is really, really important. So the Nancy and the Jake were healing, and then somebody was on the hook, and they got unhooked. Nobody's technically on a gen right now. This is super good pressure for you. Can you operate on this pressure? We'll kind of find out, but let's see what happens. So we keep going back to the hook instead of committing to the. Okay, so I think this is where I think you're making a lot of mistakes. Is like not prioritizing the right kind of people. I think you just hit Jake, right? He's kind of at this point an easy down. He didn't even go into the boat. He went and took his dumb ass all the way out here. I think you could have committed to him and just got the down. Again, you want these two to heal near the hook, because if they heal near the hook, they're not on a fucking gen, right? They're not doing anything. They're healing, right? And then by that point, you could have Jake down, hook him in the basement, go back to the, you know what I mean? Like things start to snowball, right? The snowball that you want really fast when you let people waste their own time. Let them unhook. Let them potentially heal. Take the Jake. Down him really fast. He's the fastest chase for you right now, right? I don't know if the plan was to like invest time into Jake and then, okay, now I'm going to hit her and then chase her. So I've wasted time with Jake, and like be really, really intentional. I think that if you're taking and you're going to hit somebody and then leave them, I think there has to be a damn good reason, right? And yes, Nancy, I think, is on death hook, but right now that's not a big concern when you could take a faster chase, right? Because her dying could cost you 2 gens if that takes 45 seconds, right? So I think you have to balance that out. Let people unhook and let them heal a bit, and take the path of least resistance. Take Jake. He's super easy to take right now, but you broke off of him for a healthy Nancy. It's a super weird choice. Good job trying to do that. I would vault that window. Yeah, there you go. Since you're Wraith, you're kind of hard to see. She's definitely in a bad spot. I can't tell, like, the moonwalk, not a bad idea. I think when you're cloaked, you have to be careful because you don't really have a red stain for a second, but not a bad idea. Yeah, good stuff there. Tough hook. Discordance going off. Yeah, and I figured when Jake ran up there, Ace has kind of been up there for a minute, so I figured that that's kind of what would happen. Ace just healed up, and then they'll probably finish the gen, yeah. So this is a moment where I would stop and kick the gen. To be 1,000% honest with you, I would you have Pop Goes the Weasel, 25% gone is good. Then you could commit to a chase, right? So I'm interested to see what you do here. There you go. I wouldn't kick this gen though. Yeah, you're kind of going a little too far. You're not putting enough pressure on the survivors. Right, because like kicking the one gen would have been fine if you'd gone down and then continued to chase, but then like you didn't. The match isn't going bad though. I mean, it's not doing awful at all. Good patience there on the hit. Super smart. I think our tracking is a little bit rough. I think we're kind of swiveling our head a little bit too fast and. Yeah, okay. So, again, I kind of want to point out we're leaving an injured survivor to go chase 2 healthy survivors. I think we're wasting a lot of time trying to do this whole snowball hit and run stuff. Look, these survivors are clearly, like, they're on top of it, right? So you have to be really careful about, like, I'm going to hit and run, or like, oh, there's discordance, I got to leave. Like, just because discordance is going off doesn't mean that you should go there. It just means it's info, right? In this case, if you hit young Yunjin, found her, hook her in the basement, right? And then found somebody else coming in for the unhook. You maybe could have slowed this match down, but you're leaving somebody. Now, the Yunjin's going to work on the Jin while you are chasing somebody who's healthy, right? Like, this isn't panning out to make a ton of sense. You keep leaving injured people to chase healthy people. Stop doing that shit. Hopefully that makes sense. Chasing these guys, not great. Especially because I don't think this Jake's been hooked. Maybe he's been hooked once. Meanwhile, Yunjin just healed herself with her sick med kit, and now she's going to work on that generator. And you're not really even chasing around a generator. You know, and there's discordance. Right. It's kind of going as expected at this point. So definitely don't leave injured people. Like, if an injured person's running you for 30, 45 seconds, okay, maybe bounce away. You know, but at this point, like, yeah, they're going to get this last gen done. Whereas if you'd hooked Yun and then used Pop up here, you definitely could have done more, you know. Does Ace go for the unhook? Okay. Don't you dare go for that hook. Now here's the problem. Because we didn't use Pop Goes the Weasel, they're just going to go back up and finish that gen. So, like, I would have... So, here's the thinking for me here is I would have hooked the Jake, had Pop, and gone up and been like, okay, the gen that's all the way in the far corner doesn't have any progress. The gen that's down on the, you know, near the tree in the swamp really doesn't have a lot of progress. This gen's got a lot of progress. If I chase away from this gen, they're going to come back and they're going to finish it. So, I need to use Pop now and then pressure the survivors, right? And then pressure the unhook or do whatever. Because if I chase you and Jin, then the 2 unhook and then they come up here and finish it, right? So I know I've said, like, don't break away from chases. You have to kind of, like, consider all the stuff that's going on, right? And that's kind of where this gets a little bit tricky and a little bit messy. Is at this point I would have used Pop because now they might just finish that in your face because you didn't regress it, right? But I think, I will say, ultimately, I think this match spiraled out of control a little bit earlier on in the game rather than later. This is just like one micro decision that you kind of get a feel for making, but I don't think that this was the make or break play. I think there were a lot of, you know, issues that kind of went on a little bit beforehand, so. The wiggling the killer did just before Yunjin. I usually don't track their every minute movement when I swing on a survivor. I swing. So just for reference, for anybody who doesn't know, if you see a survivor going for that window, take and slide yourself into this hole. drop down, and then you'll have easy access to just go right after them instead of going all the way out, all the way around, right? Just go down the hole here and then hit them. If you're going to chase here. This whole fucking area is a nightmare. But if you chase here, just drop down the hole and then go after them. It's way faster than going around and way faster than vaulting, okay? Odds are a lot of people will drop down the hole and then they'll double back through to like go back up the stairs so you can catch them off, okay? So just keep that in mind. Yeah, and that's exactly what he did. He doubled back. And yeah, you definitely could have got at least one hit there. So you do have Pop Goes the Weasel that went off. Not awful. The other two healed, which means they haven't fully committed to a gen for a minute. And they are doing the gen that's like super far away, which is interesting. Really smart for him. Nothing you could do there. I wouldn't have worried about this. Knowing this gen had no progress, yeah, you broke away from someone who's wounded to go for someone. You've heard it from me before. He is on death hook though, so it's not the worst thing in the world, but if he chooses to go back to the boat, then you put yourself in a bad spot. Exactly what Slaw said. Yeah, most people don't expect you to do that. Ace used his medkit. Not sure what we're doing. He's definitely put himself in a bad spot. I think most of their medkits should be about empty right now. Let's see what happens. A bird in the hand, man. You keep breaking away from people who are wounded, and it's really hurting you. I think there's this fear of things slipping away, or you don't even know if somebody's here. You just came out here for nothing. So you wasted 15, 20 seconds. Yeah, exactly. So you wasted a bunch of time coming out there for nothing. You need to start taking the people that are injured and committing to them, right? There are very few times I would say run away from somebody who's injured. Follow the 15-45 rule, okay? Do you guys know the 15-45? Raise your hand if you know the 15-45 rule, okay? I'm going to drink my G Fuel and wait, all right? Tasty. Get the feeling he's cloaking a lot too much? No. I think the amount of cloaking is fine. It makes it so people have to pre-throw pallets because of his lunge coming out, all right? So the 15-45 rule, if you don't know what the 15-45 is within the first 15 to 20 seconds of a chase, you need a hit or a pallet. All right. If you get the hit, right? So if the hit happens, you move on to step 2. Step 2 is you have 45-ish seconds to get the second hit. Or another pallet. Okay. Now 45 seconds is gracious. Usually you would want this to be, oh Jesus. You would want this to be 30 to 45 seconds, all right? Now, this is 15 to 20 seconds, hit, and then another 30 to 45 seconds, okay? This is what you need to stick to, all right? If you've chased somebody long enough to bust up 2 pallets, you've probably been in that chase long enough to fucking leave it, right? So I think that what you're doing is you're going, I've hit them, and now I'm going to go to other people because I've been in this chase too long. And I think once you get a hit on somebody, you have 30-ish seconds, right? I don't think you're chasing too long if you chase somebody for 30 seconds, you know, because they do get the speed boost. It takes 10 seconds just to catch up after that, and then you have 20 seconds to really commit to the next hit. But I think you're leaving chases to go chase people who are not injured for no reason. I think there's kind of a bit of like they're getting stuff done. I gotta go fuck it. And I think you should calm down on that a little bit. So the thing to work on is 3 gen. Know which 3 gens you want to protect. And fuck everything else. Not really fuck everything else, right? I'll play a match after this, kind of show you guys what I mean. But 3 gen the team, the 15-45. I think you've got super good fundamentals. You know when to like break pallets. You know a lot of this stuff, but implementing it is really, really tough. The other thing I would say is stop going back to hooks. So like just don't go back to the hooks. Let them unhook. Let them heal. It's 2 people that are wasting time that aren't on gens. Preoccupy on somebody else. The ideal way that you'd like to play Dead by Daylight as a killer is put somebody on a hook. That looks like a J. I promise it's a hook, right? So put somebody on a hook, and then as the killer, chase somebody else, right? And as you chase somebody else, somebody has to go get that person off the hook. Now, when this person gets hooked, right? So now you've chased this person, they're on the hook, and now you have just 2 people out here, right? Now somebody else has to come in and unhook him, right? And at that point, now you're chasing one of these guys, right? The idea here is that if somebody is always on a hook, somebody is always unhooking, and you're chasing somebody, that's 3 people that can't sit on a generator, right? That means that 1 person at a time is on a generator at best. At best, right, for the team. Now, obviously, if these 2 heal and then they get to a generator, right, they have a little bit of time to eke out some progress, right? But at the end of the day, this is kind of what you want to do. You want 3 people, you know, you want 1 person to be hooked, 1 person to be unhooking, and then 1 person in chase. And this is what you want. This is the cycle, right? And then you hook somebody else, and then you chase somebody else, and that cycle continues. And then you hook somebody and you chase somebody, because them unhooking and healing wastes their time. Everybody talks about how like Pig and all these other killers have like some inherent slowdown. Every killer has slowdown to the degree of they have to do one fucking thing at a time, right? They can't work on gens and heal. They can't unhook and work on gens, right? So just like killer can only chase 1 person at a time, if somebody is hooked, somebody has to unhook. That's 2 people that are tied up. Always mentally think about that. Okay, someone unhooked. There's 2 people here. I'm in a chase with somebody else. I'm going to hook them. Okay, so somebody has to unhook them. Now that's 2 people that are not on a gen. Then I chase somebody else. That's the cycle. Keep churning that fucking butter right there, right? Or 65 seconds with step 1. So again, let me go over the 15-45 rule. It's 15 to 20 for the first chase, and then an additional 30 to 45 for the second chase. These are not additive. These are separate. Step 1, step 2. These do not add total, okay? Because what happens is you hit somebody within the 15-45, right? So, or the 15 seconds, you get a hit. All right. Once you hit somebody, they get a 2-second sprint burst. It takes you about 10 seconds to just catch up to them after that in some cases. That's where the 30 comes in. Okay. It's not additive. Hope that all makes sense. Let's see how this match ends up though. I think you could have got that hit, but churn, butter. She faked the window. Good job not swinging on that. I don't know if you knew to swing or not. Good hit here. I wouldn't say they bodied you. I would say you did a pretty good job, all things considered. One thing I'll say, again, I think a lot of people are going to look at this build and go, man, I need pop, I need pop and ruin, or I need pop and corrupt because this match didn't go super well. I think there are mechanical things you can fix about your gameplay that will make this build insanely strong. I think after this, I think I'll play a Wraith match mimicking your entire build, and we'll kind of see where that goes. I don't even think you really need to do this. I mean, you can. I thought I needed nurses. Nope. You just need to pay attention more. And you need to not return to the hook as much. And you need to stop chasing healthy survivors instead. Those are the big ones, right? Stop chasing healthy survivors. Like, stop leaving injured for healthy. And then stop, you know, going back to hook. Then there's the ace. So you might be able to get ace in here. Oh, the whiff. It's a rough one. They actually might get out because of the ace. That whiff actually, I think, hurt you pretty bad. If she has barbecue, they all get out. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, I think those are the big things. Is I think breaking chases with injured people to go after someone healthy is like very unpoggers.